This is not a pro or anti-Marcos statement, and this is not a pro or anti-Aquino statement. Multi-James 95 wishes to express his grayness for such issue, and that he is neither pro or anti-Marcos nor pro or anti-Aquino, because in reality, both families ruined the nation. This speech is not to win anyone's side, but instead a bet of 2 cents to be fair. Hello and welcome to the English language series of speeches and commentaries, stories and fun facts with Multi-James 95. How are you doing, viewers? If you're new to my channel, please click the subscribe button and notification bell to see more videos on fun facts, trivias, and stories in this series. Today's topic, the dark side of Edsa 1986. Edsa 1986, officially known as the People Power Revolution, Edsa Uno, Edsa Revolution, or People Power Revolution 1, is a historic event in the Philippines that lasted for 4 days and culminated on February 25, 1986. It marked the return of democracy after a decade of dictatorship. If you're saying that Marcos's dictatorship lasted from 1965 until 1986, you're wrong. Marcos's first term from 1965 to 1969 wasn't all that bad, and it wasn't all that good either. It was only in 1972, 3 years after his re-election, that he became a dictator, when he declared martial law. We value Edsa as it was a return of democracy, which belongs to the Filipinos until today. It has been 35 years of Edsa, yet not much in the Philippines has changed. Just like many things, while Edsa may have had good in it, there were dark sides in it too. Here are some points to prove that. Number 1. Only a change of power in a ruling class. A man who was deemed as a tyrant and belonged to a ruling class was replaced with another person of the same class. That other person of the same class is Cory Aquino, who herself is a Cojuangco. The Cojuangcos are themselves a ruling class, and oligarchs just like the Marcos cronies. They continued the anti-people policies of the previous regime, and it so happened that one of them is a Marcos crony, Danding Cojuangco, birth name Eduardo Cojuangco Jr. He is the cousin of Corazon Cojuangco Aquino, the wife of Ninoy Aquino. Number 2. It all remains. While Edsa changed the person in power, elements of the old regime, such as social and political structures and machineries, still remained, and no post-Marcos or post-Edsa administration did their best to dismantle these elements or modify them to be used for a good cause. Number 3. More bigger fights. Edsa was said to have been a magical bullet to fix up the mess of Marcos, but in reality, it wasn't. It marked more bigger fights and more work to do, which we are still fighting and doing today. Number 4. A flawed democracy. Even if democracy was restored in Edsa 1986, it's still not the democracy Filipinos asked for. Even the 1987 Constitution has its own flaws too. Number 5. Flawed reforms. While Ninoy may have had promises for a better Philippines, his widow Cory did not totally fulfill them. There were reforms made but were not properly enforced. Number 6. Flawed government. Even if the Marcoses were removed, corruption still went on after Edsa. When the Marcoses returned during the Ramos administration, they and their cronies were still allowed to re-engage in the same business and political duties later on. With only Imelda convicted and not yet in jail, the same applies also for those cronies and collaborators, the majority of who still walked scot-free. There were convictions, including some acquittals. Among them, some cronies are still active in the same businesses they ran when Marcos was still in power, while a number of them ran for political office under the anti-Marcos banner. Number 7. More killings. While there were many killings and disappearances during martial law, the post-Edsa days also had a number of these incidents. Only a year after Edsa, a massacre took place at the Menjola area of the city of Manila. This incident, known as the Menjola Massacre, is one of many atrocities that happened post-Marcos during the Cory Aquino administration, and this horrible event, which is likened to martial law, is one of many demerits of the Cory Aquino government, making her being at fault to the same degree as Marcos. Despite many efforts to teach about them, these things were blindly ignored by many. As what it says, the democracy doesn't belong to key figures of this event like Cory, but it instead belongs to the Filipinos. If there was anyone more qualified to use the Marcos political machinery for a good cause, then it would have been the Iron Lady of Asia, the late Miriam Defensor Santiago. Miriam Defensor Santiago could have used the said machinery to stamp out corruption and right the wrongs of both Marcos and Cory if she won in 1992 or 1998. And it so happened that the Philippines is in its sorry state because of the Filipino mentality. According to former Singaporean Prime Minister and founder Lee Kuan Yew, Filipinos have a soft and forgiving culture, which means that we are forgetful and that we forgive and forget without the culprits having to take accountability for their actions. The truth is that many have retained the attitude of subservience, of being fatalistic, like bahala na or que sera sera, aside from tribalism, which is thinking only of themselves and their own kind, whether family, clan, province, ethnic group, in utter disregard for what is true and fair. Although we agree with Lee Kuan Yew that the country needs to develop more on its discipline and less on its democracy, the truth is that we are still swallowing his more bitter pill. According to former Vice President Salvador Laurel, Cory could have ordered Marcos' return to the Philippines to face charges against him. But when he talked to Cory Aquino about his talk with Marcos on this issue during his visit to Hawaii, she instead turned a blind eye and deaf ear on him and what she was supposed to do. In his book, Neither Trumpets Nor Drums, Salvador Laurel said that Edsa erased all my promises. He also said that he wouldn't join the opposition unless the government succeeded. He didn't want to see it fail because he worked so hard and sacrificed so much to bring it to power. He would wait for another year and support her when she's right, and that he would disagree with her when she's wrong. Salvador Laurel also maintained that he would oppose Cory when she insisted on being wrong. And Miriam Defensor Santiago was right all along. Cory may have declared a revolutionary government, but failed to revolutionize the culture of corruption, which means if she declared a revolutionary government, she could have used it to stamp out corruption, but that she was not a risk taker to do so. That makes Cory at fault, just like Marcos. As what they say, pareho lang silang may kasalanan sa atin lahat. At nagsasabi ng totoo si Miriam Defensor Santiago, ngunit hindi natin nagawa anong dapat natin gawin ayon sa kanya at hindi rin tayo nakinig sa kanya. Binigo natin siya at binigo siya ng mga gobyerno. Sa katotohanan, ano bang ginawa natin nung kailangan natin siya at kailangan siya ng buong Pilipinas? Have the Filipinos learned the other lessons of the past? Are they doing the right thing or little to nothing? The truth may never be known. I'd like to thank you all for watching this trivia vlog, and I hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you are new to my channel, please click the subscribe button and notification bell to get updated on new content I create or upload. In addition, you can support me on Patreon, where you can also get tiers, and you can also donate to me on PayPal. If you wish to do either of the two, then the links for both Patreon and PayPal are in the description. Once again, thank you all for watching, liking, and subscribing. I look forward to our next episode or video.